All right, this video is basically for an introduction to chain drives, okay? So what is a chain drive? Well, essentially, it's a drive that uses a chain that is very similar to this. It has a series of rollers and links, okay? Alternating links we have on the outside, inside, outside. And again, these rollers, and then of course, a corresponding sprocket, okay? That's going to go in here, and this is going to drive or be driven, all right? So why would we use this? Well, a chain is made out of steel, and it has a lot of strength, okay? So if you're talking about high torque situations and high pressures and things like that, the chain is typically the way to go. However, it is generally limited to speed. So this isn't going to be high speed, but we're going to talk about a great deal of force that you can use with a chain drive. Now, the other thing about a chain drive is that you can obviously change the different size of sprockets, and by doing that, you'll have a ratio between the driven sprocket and the driving sprocket, or vice versa, and you can get some really accurate, we'll call it gear reduction, okay, or chain reduction for your system. So you can, with a standard RPM motor, you can change these sprockets in any combination in order to achieve the output RPM that you're looking for. So that is something that you would use the chain drive for as well, as opposed to like a belt system where the belts do have some slip. Now, a few things about chains. Again, not all chains are created equal. They have a pitch, okay? And measuring the pitch is going to be from center of the pin to center of the pin, or you can go from the edge to the edge right here. And this one, as I'm using the calipers, I have 0.5. 0.5 is ½ inch, so this is a ½ inch pitch chain. That means that, again, in between each one of these links is going to be a ½ inch, okay? Now, that doesn't necessarily directly correspond, but it has a lot to do with the series of chain. Like, for example, this one is actually stamped on here. This is a number 40 chain, so this is a standard, all right? Now, a number 40 chain obviously is going to need number 40 sprockets, okay? So this is a number 40 sprocket, this is a number 40 chain. This goes together very well, all right? And you can see that it is clearly corresponds with each other. And then of course you have right here, I believe this is a 25 or 35 chain, or number 30 chain. And so when we take this 30 chain and we try to install it on our 40 sprocket, yeah, that really just doesn't work, okay? The distance is wrong, and also too, the width is wrong. So this sprocket is wider than the inside dimension of that chain. Now let's take a look at this one very quickly. I'm going to measure this, and I'm going to see that this is center to center is 3/8. So the pitch on this is 3/8, and the pitch on this is ½ inch. So in the 40 series, it's going to be a ½ inch pitch, and therefore it requires ½ inch in between each one of these links in order to be able to work with this. Okay, so that is that right there. Now, a few other tools that we're going to talk quickly about. A chain breaker, well, I'm going to show you that in another video. I'm also going to talk a little bit about these mounting options, okay? We have this right here. It's a taper lock. It's very difficult to see, but this has a taper to it. This has a taper to it, and then as you bring the fasteners together, what it does is actually squeezes this gap here and clamps that onto the shaft, and that's what holds it and helps to drive, along with the key, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And then, of course, there's some standard sprockets here. This has a bore in it and a key, okay? And it is held in place by its set screw. I'm feeling that this right here is going to be far superior because you're going to get a better grip on that shaft. So a few things there. We'll talk about how to mount and demount those things. Now, along with the chains too, there's also such a thing called a master link. So in other words, if you have to take a chain apart, oftentimes there's not enough adjustment to do so. So you'll have something called a master link. You can add those in, or you can find them so you can break the chain. Usually a set of needle nose pliers just like this will remove this clip. Set that off to the side. You can remove this side plate here, and then actually you can separate the chain. So that's something else that we're going to be looking at doing in this quick video series here. So again, this is the number 40 chain, and along with that, a few other little tools that you're going to need. Obviously, you're going to need some basic wrenches. We have a tachometer over here, because what we're going to do is we're going to actually calculate from a given diameter to, or a given number of teeth to a given number of teeth, what the difference is going to be, and then we're going to verify that difference so we know. And then the last little thing that we're going to talk about is chain tension, okay? So tight as you can get it is not going to work here. There's actually a formula for that, and then we're going to talk through that as well. I did already say last thing, but there is one other little item, and that is alignment between these shafts. Okay, this alignment can be off a couple different ways. You can have these shafts essentially not necessarily lining up this way, or they can be off this way. So it's very important, and once you get some things mounted up and you have some a way to measure, you'll be able to get those lined up. So again, we're going to go through that with some of the tools that we have here in another video.